Welcome to Around the Blockchain. It's going to be a fantastic episode. Bitcoin just started pumping out of nowhere. We're looking at 6 on-chain metrics saying the bottom is in, or we're going to discuss, is it in? Also, this state, one of the 50 states just went tax exempt on your crypto gains. Is it the state that you live in? I certainly hope it's the state I live in. And also, Apple is teaming up with Mana. I'm not talking about Magic the Gathering. I'm talking about Decentraland, one of the biggest metaverse projects out there. What is that going to look like? Is the metaverse going to live on your iPhone? It's going to be a great episode. We have some great guests today. I'm going to start on the top right. We have Miss Teen Crypto, and I'm going to try to make an appearance on your show soon, Miss Teen Crypto. So don't worry, I'll keep it PG. I'll try at least.
I'll try to. I'll see if I trust you.
All right,
I'm just kidding. I can't wait to have you.
Looking forward to it. Also, Piano Matty B in the Kill Bill colors. I love seeing it. How are you doing today, Piano?
Great, thanks again for having me. I'm happy to see how the show's has its own new life on your own channel. So congrats.
Yeah, we've resurrected it during the bear market, and also we have Crypto Blood swagged out of his mind. Maybe it's because he saw this pump coming. We're gonna ask him some questions about it. Quick though, did you see the pump coming?
Yeah, I actually did. I did. We'll talk about it. Thank you. The people have spoken. I'm in a red square. That's all that matters. I win.
He's in the red square. And also we have rounding up in the top left spot, Altcoin Daily, one of the best Twitters, one of the best YouTubes out there. Make sure you follow all of the content that they get out. I know I do. I got my notifications on. We're going to talk about Bitcoin, but first, let's do a little market watch. Miss Teen pointed this out right before we went live. Bitcoin just started pumping out of nowhere here. This is the coin market cap. We're going to click on it just to look at that one-day chart right there, and boom, off to the races. Now, Crypto Blood, I know you're trading a lot. You said you maybe saw this coming. You didn't happen to share any of info on your stream, and where could we catch you at?
Oh, of course, you could have. If you were part of bloodalytics.com, we were long yesterday on all 4 pairs. So we are enjoying this rally. We went long, and hey, it is what it is. So bloodalytics.com, come check me out. But
what do you think is making this recent pump? Because we are trading sideways after violent action to the upside, and a lot of people are saying, "Hey, we got to consolidate for a while." Well, consolidated for about a day or two. Then are we off to the races again?
Yeah, I think we are. We broke out of the channel that we were in for a little while, and that's when I knew it was on. So once we broke out of that area, it was on and popping. So we are now well above the previous local high, and you know what, at this point I don't know. I mean, $28,000 Bitcoin is potentially on play, or
okay, so you see a little bit of pressure at those June and July lows of last year?
I'm not looking at that.
That's the 28.5 level or so.
Okay, 28.5. Yeah, there it is. Then that's where it lines up. That's exactly where my indicators are telling me. I think that it's probably a gap here, you know, so it's going to be very low volume and very violent moves up. So be careful if you're short. If you're long like us, you're counting the money right now.
All right, Piano Matty B, are you seeing some of the same stuff? Are we poised to, is there another potential leg up? I do know that there isn't much volume until we get to that 28, till that 30-ish level. What is it looking like if we do go to the upside? Is it going to be very violent and fast?
It's a good question. I'm just checking out the charts. I took the day off today. It was a very I rarely do it, but when the market doesn't move anything, I just like sleep until 5 or 6 a.m. So taking a look at it, I remember saying that on the weekly we have this convergence of the 200 and the 50 right around 24.6. So I got that as my gateway, and if we can smash through 24.6, take a quick little dump down, test it, and then I think that's clear sailing to 28. That's what I'm keeping my eye on, 24.6.
All right, 24.6. Now, quick, Piano Matty B, is that roughly about where that golden cross is going to happen? Of course, it's subject to move, but we can kind of predict about where it's going to happen. Is that kind of lining up with the golden cross, which of course is the 200
kind of,
and the
but
50?
It's also, yeah, that's exactly what it is, and it's also like on the daily. There's some history there at that point where it stalls out there, so. It's got a bunch of a confluence of events if it were at that price point. That's why I'm keeping my eye on her.
All right. We're seeing a little confluence of events, and we're seeing a confluence of macro indicator saying the bottom is in. We're not going to go over all 6. This is from the Game of Trades analyst, and he has 6 on-chain metrics. He has about 75K Twitter followers, so not the smallest person here. The first metric he had was the accumulation trend score, which largely just talks about big institutions, big money coming in. It's not a wave of guppies coming in, is the large institutional demand and saying they are back into deep accumulation, and we haven't seen this accumulation since the 2018 and some of those March 2020 lows. Altcoin Daily, does that thesis kind of ring true for you? Do you feel that the big institutional demand is maybe starting to finally creep back in? We're more than a year past all-time high. You know, we're lower than 20K when, you know, a lot of these corporations potentially were making purchases. Are they coming in, or do you think they're still waiting on the sidelines?
DZ, love being here. Thanks for having me on the channel. I think that Bitcoin has the best potential possibility of getting that institutional money in. There are a lot of signals that the price has bottomed. Again, the big difference in all this is the Fed is tightening as opposed to the last 10 years where the Fed was easing or had quantitative easing. So with rate hikes on the horizon, we may be close to the end. We might have already ended. We might not be there yet. So to me, it's still a big unknown if we've bottomed. As not a trader, though, I'm no trader. I'm more of a long-term investor. I do like to dollar cost average in around the bottom, just like I like to dollar cost average out around the top. So to answer your question, are institutions in? I would say Bitcoin has the best chance. I think with a lot of those altcoins, the big money's not going to get in until we have that regulatory clarity.
Yeah, and we actually just had Tesla's quarterly earnings report, and while they didn't say they're buying Bitcoin, it's another quarter where they didn't sell the holdings that they do have. So yeah, slightly bullish there, slightly bullish. Miss Teen Crypto, I'm looking at some of these other entity adjusted dormancy flows, and some of them are a little technical, a little nerdy, the MVRV score, but they do say it is relatively undervalued right now compared to its fair value or realized price. There's a lot of different metrics. You can kind of look at what you think the value of Bitcoin is. The mining costs are on the way up. The average cost of the Bitcoin trading hands, that's on the way up. Now, but what if we go even higher? If we go up to that 28K, 27, 28, 29, do you still consider Bitcoin a good buying opportunity there, or would you maybe wait for a pullback?
Bitcoin is a great buying opportunity for the next 10 years. Let's not get that mistaken. We're extremely early in Bitcoin cryptocurrency. People seeing Bitcoin at 15K, that was a gift in prices. 20K is a gift because if you, like I like to say all the time, when in doubt, zoom out on the yearly charts and you see where Bitcoin was, 69K. If you don't think we're going to get back there and surpass it, you're crazy. So anywhere that you could buy, I suggest just getting in, just accumulating over time, whatever your plan is, whether that's dollar cost averaging, whatever that may be. Even if it does go to 28K, I'm going to see, I predict a lot of FOMO coming into the market. We're already seeing a little bit of bullish sentiment in the market. If you've been watching exchanges, hundreds of millions of dollars have been withdrawn in Bitcoin and various other cryptocurrencies because people don't want to sell right now. And they're also scared of exchanges. So people want to hodl. They want to hold their Bitcoin. They want to be in control of that. I definitely do see some very positive sentiment incoming. And, 28K, who cares? You're going to be worried about 100K. You're going to be happy you have some in the next few years. So I wouldn't worry about that.
All right. Well, I'm glad you said, right now no one wants to sell their Bitcoin. Altcoin Daily, are there any levels where you think that the people who bought Bitcoin, let's just say under 30, maybe they bought in the last 6 months, maybe they got 22, 25, maybe they even got 16, caught the low. Is there a level psychologically where you say, you know what, they're going to be looking to take profits? Is it 40K? Is it 50? Is it all-time high? Where do you see a large exit ramp?
I think yes. I think we have a lot more resistance on the way up compared to what we did when we first passed 20K at the end of 2020 into 2021, because there are a big portion of investors that didn't know what they were getting into. For example, we can just take a look at when we had the double top in 2021, Bitcoin hit 65K in March or May or whatever, and then again in September, wherever that was, around 69K. Now, when we were up at those highs again, people didn't take it on the opportunity to double down and go on more. There was just way more sell pressure because we were there a second time and people wanted to take profits. So I would say there is resistance going up. I do sort of, especially in this chop solidation that I think we'll be in for the next 6 months, I think a lot of people will use that as an opportunity to take profits on their altcoins and then cycle back in to either a cash position or Bitcoin or ETH or some of the blue chips on the way up.
Okay. Any favorite alts you wouldn't mind sharing?
I have not bought an alt other than the last alt I bought was definitely at the end of 2021, Chainlink in December, maybe.
All right.
Besides ETH, I
You know
bought
how to get
Bitcoin
points,
and
don't
ETH.
you?
I don't know what you like. I know you're a Cardano guy. But other than that, and then I stopped for all of 2022. And other than Bitcoin and ETH, haven't touched alts because I still feel Bitcoin dominance can still go up.
All right. Crypto Blood, I want to ask you, for maybe the people sitting on the sidelines, do you think that there is a reason to holding back right now to maybe potentially catch a lower price target?
You can't time bottoms, so holding out, no. You should be definitely dipping your toe in at these levels. But I do think we go head lower. Kind of echoing what Altcoin Daily said. I'm looking at the Feds, and Jerome G Unit Powell is going to 50 cent us to death. Okay, I think we're going to get 50 basis point hikes for the foreseeable future. Um, and until they break something. And at that point, it's too late. We'll be in a deep recession at that point. And like I said, I don't know what Bitcoin and crypto looks like in a deep recession. I would have to assume it's the opposite of what we've seen the last 10 years. So
All right.
that's my overall thesis. We have to head lower. Do we go to 28 first? Sure, that's possible. But
Okay.
ultimately, we got to head lower.
All right. And, speaking of G Unit, of course, no one likes Tony Yayo, but I think Lloyd Banks is the best hot button issue here. I know.
Yeah,
Who's the
one
best
for
member in
Lloyd
G
Banks
Unit?
in the chat room,
Yeah,
guys.
yeah.
Let us know
One
what
for
you
Lloyd
think.
Banks, two for I don't know, Cashville, Tennessee, that guy. All right, Piano Matty B. Blood brought up the point that we are going to see a leg down. Maybe it's soon, maybe it's at 28K. Moon Boys would say, yeah, we're going all the way to 42 before that happens. Do you expect a leg down in 23 at some point?
Well, I think with the pressure from Jerry Pow and all the hikes, it rolls out gradually. So the first thing is the market reacts to his announcements, and then nothing happens after that. We revert to the mean, and then 4 months you feel a little bit of pain where you get some layoffs. But at the layoffs and people losing their jobs, they still have a little bit of cash on the side, so they're not really panicking. The pain hasn't set in. Then 3 months later, those people that lost their jobs now have no money, and then you see the real sucking of the economy out, right? And I think as 2023, we're going to see that slow, gradual rollout of pain start affecting the markets in a slow, dampening way. But I don't know, like a massive bottom falling out back down to 15K. I'm not sure. I think we're just going to have pumps, and then it'll kind of go down, pumps go down as the pain takes hold. Easy.
All right. Miss Teen Crypto, on that note, the DXY, also one of the things, moving this Bitcoin price, it is on the way down. Some are saying we're hitting some pretty large levels of support with the DXY with the dollar strength. The stronger the dollar, the less Bitcoin each individual dollar can buy. So you end up seeing a little bit lower price. What do you expect with the US dollar? Is it going to continue to weaken in 23, meaning potentially more expensive Bitcoin? Or do you see the strength rebounding and a pullback coinciding?
I'm not too sure. The money printer's always going burr. It's always something we never have control of. So to try to predict it, I think is a little bit difficult. Every month it's something different. You think something's going to happen and it doesn't. What I think, especially with Bitcoin does what it wants when it wants. And this is a hard lesson that a lot of people had to learn. I mean, I don't know if you guys remember the last bull run, everyone was laserized at 50K saying we're going to 100, and then we took a dip. Now everyone around this time was saying, hey, we're going to go to 10K. You have to be bearish. Now we're seeing this pump that nobody expected. Bitcoin does what it wants when it wants. And as per the market, I do think we're going to see a bit of divergence from how Bitcoin has traded in the past. Because again, if Bitcoin does what everyone expects it to do, then we don't get anywhere. So I think Bitcoin is going to do its own thing. I think you should always have a plan, a bearish and a bullish case scenario, and whatever plays out, keep going with it. Because honestly, Bitcoin again does what it wants when it wants. So be aware.
All right, and let's just pull up the chart one more time. There is a little bit of a pullback with Bitcoin's price. It looks like it went up to about
Yeah, I just went short.
23,670. Okay,
Easy.
you just opened a
Number
short
can
just now, Blood.
Yeah. Yeah,
All
just
right,
I
about
mean,
5 minutes ago.
all
That
right, all
was
right.
me.
You
It
heard it,
moved
numbers
in
market
can't
my
always
makers.
go up.
Where's your liquidation point? Share your. No, I'm just kidding. I
yeah,
kid.
nope,
I
not
kid.
telling you that.
I
Goodbye.
Price is dipping.
All
Can the devs do something, please?
Bitcoin devs, core
Right.
devs. Jack
Right.
Ball, give a speech, please. We need it right now. But kudos, 2 points for Crypto Blood, sharing your trade, opening the short right now. All right, and this section brought to you by bcvault.com. Check out bcvault.com if you do want to store some Bitcoin securely. All right, let's talk about that tax exempt state. These lawmakers, is it your state? Spoiler, it's not California. I'm sorry, Altcoin Daily. I know you're really expecting them to
Boo.
just totally eliminate your state taxes with crypto. No, it is lawmakers in Arizona. Arizona is considering a bill that exempt crypto from property taxation. This was, brought by some of their state legislators, and if it passes, this is going to be up to a ballot for the Arizona citizens to vote on in November of 2024. It did exclude stablecoins, though. In their words, tokens that are a representation of the U.S. dollar or a foreign currency. So we can't do that. Some of those foreign stable coins that I'm still waiting to leverage long. I don't know, Swedish coins against USDC, something like that. But yeah, apparently, really good news. 4 million registered voters. So the 4 million people are going to be hitting the polls about a year and a half from now to decide whether or not this goes through. Altcoin Daily, if you could give a message to the California lawmakers right now, I know there's at least a couple watching right now. What would you say to them when it comes to taxing your crypto gains? Is this a good thing for the state? Hey, we could build highways, or is this a bad thing, stifling innovation?
I'm obviously biased because I own a lot of Bitcoin and Ethereum and altcoins. I just haven't bought any new ones in the last year, but I'm definitely a believer long term. I think that if you were to cease taxes on cryptocurrencies, that would be beneficial because they would make them more of currencies instead of crypto assets. Because there's no way I'm trying to spend my Bitcoin or my Litecoin to pay for a cup of coffee when I'm going to get taxed to death on that. Now, just full disclosure, all cards on the table. If there was no taxes on Bitcoin or any altcoins, I probably wouldn't spend it on a cup of coffee anyway, because to me, they are assets. To me, I do believe long-term that they are going to appreciate, some of them. So I would rather hold them and spend things that I believe are going to be devalued over the years. So how that would affect me, besides paying less on taxes, it wouldn't change, what I do day to day all that much. A solution that I want to propose to the California Tax Board and other states in the US, what if we did this for capital gains tax? You get taxed the most, let's just say 80%. I'll give that 80% on your investments if you sell within the first year. If you hold it for 2 years, then it's only 60%. If you hold it for 3 years, it's only 40%. If you held it for over 5 years, it's 10%. And if you hold it over 8 years, you don't have to pay any capital gains tax. That's going to truly incentivize investing in long-term innovations that you believe in instead of the quick trade. I
Yeah.
pose that to you, Mr. Newsom.
I would take that one step further, Mr. Newsom. 0% on all crypto that you mined, because that you generated
Oh.
yourself there. Crypto Blood, it seems like we have states, they're fighting to attract talent, similar to, like a Suarez strategy. Like, hey, come here, all you crypto, all you Bitcoin billionaires, come live over here. Hey, Roger, come over. But then we have the Fed. It's an opposite strategy. No regulation, no clarity. They're fighting tooth and nail to take these exchanges down. What is going to end up winning in the long term? We have the state saying, "Hey, come here." We have the Fed pushing them away. What is going to happen to the average, European international traveler looking to maybe relocate? Is the U.S. an attractive option?
Not for crypto, it's not at this juncture. Ultimately, the states win. We look at any other industry, the cannabis industry, alcohol. It usually starts at the state level, and it matriculates, if that's a word, upwards to the federal level. So I think it's going to start with the states. They're going to come up with their own, flavor and or interpretation of it. But as far as Arizona, I don't think it's going to pass. Why would they want to miss out on additional tax revenue? I just I don't see why. It's not
Yep.
beneficial to them, in my opinion. Now, one could say no taxes on crypto would bring in more businesses, and then they can tax the business. I guess you can look at it that way. That is a possibility, but it's too attractive,
Yeah, you have to
too
attract
tempting.
a lot of crypto
Yeah,
people to, that's a lot of Lamborghinis that have to be bought to,
yeah, right,
equate that same
right.
amount of taxes. Hey, maybe I'll buy one. I'm not going to buy one ever. I'm too tall. Miss Teen Crypto. Now we're seeing a similar thing play out with the feds versus states with the marijuana industry, where the states are essentially, just kind of co-opting their own strategy, setting up, a little bit of a conflict of interest here. Do you think that crypto could potentially, as they fight, can this make its way all the way up to the Supreme Court, you think?
Oh, absolutely. Crypto's inevitable. Bitcoin's inevitable. You have to see that. And every which way, the Congress, Senate, everybody has heard of crypto. And it's just a matter of when they want to embrace it. Now you have different states that want different things. Like Arizona, they're pushing for, this crypto tax stuff. They're also pushing for Bitcoin to be legal tender there. Texas is also making moves where they want to invest in Bitcoin. They want to allow Bitcoin mining. Then you have states like New York where they don't want Bitcoin mining. They're kind of holding back on crypto. So I think there's going to be a lot of picking and choosing, especially in Miami. The mayor of Miami, he's still getting paid in Bitcoin every 2 weeks, and he's very pro crypto because it's something separate from the fiat system. So again, we're going to have division within states. It's going to be state versus state until eventually maybe an overwhelming amount of the states are pro crypto, which I think is very much going to end up happening because again, Bitcoin's inevitable. And eventually the Supreme Court's going to have to do something. The federal level is going to have to do something, being that it's going to be what the people want. And when a lot of people want something, they're going to have to feel the immense amount of pressure. Now, if you were listening to all the Senate hearings and everything when FTX was happening, one question that was asked by someone in the government was, what about US dollar dominance? And that's what it all comes down to. And eventually, if you keep pushing people out of this country, stifling innovation, whether that's at the state or federal level, people are going to leave. They're going to go places where they could be open, where they could spend money that's theirs and can own crypto freely. So again, they're going to have to make a decision. They're going to have to embrace it. It's just a matter of when they want to do that.
Yeah, on that point, if they ever want dollar dominance to maintain, it's gonna have to evolve into a crypto-like state, whether USDC, USDT, but that is to me, that is the only way. Now, Piano Matty B, we're talking about American politics here. Those who don't know, you're north of the border. So what
Yeah.
is it like in Canada? Do you think that Canada, are they gonna copy the US system of the feds, or are they gonna look more at what the states are doing and say, "Hey, maybe we should try to siphon some of this talent, some of this money from, our neighbor to the south?"
With the current regime we have with Trudeau, I don't think that's going to happen because we are influenced by whatever you do, and essentially it comes over despite what they want or what they don't want. But I think the way taxes are viewed, like from the IRS to it's called CRA here. I think we view it differently. Like whenever I hear Americans talk about IRS, they're just like, don't F with the IRS, just whatever you're accountable for, make sure you dot your I's and cross your T's. And up here in Canada, with the Mounties and riding the horses and the red pants and everything, everyone's kind of like, well, you should probably do your taxes, maybe, probably. So it's not the same thing. And I just don't see it. Like when they talk about taxes in Arizona, I don't buy it because I don't think there's enough politicians with skin in the game because they're only going to do something that makes their wallet fat. So right now, I don't think they have enough Bitcoin or crypto for that piece of law to make them money. But in the future, when it's dependent on them having money, they'll do whatever they can. They'll bend over backwards to make it legal if they're going to benefit from it. But right now, I just don't buy it. It's almost like the old psychopaths are just like looking for a news feed. Let's let these kids play their rock and roll and music, and next, it'll be 24 hours of them talking about making this tax exempt, and then it'll go away.
That does sound like an attractive option over there because, yeah, in America, certainly fearful of the IRS, fearful of the agents, fearful of their power. Took down Al Capone, took down Blade, Vampire Hunter, and that's about one of the
That's
strongest
right.
people I know in my life. Piano, was there any resurgence in interest after the trucker fiasco? You brought up Emperor Trudeau. Did the trucker fiasco increase interest in Bitcoin in your social circle?
Not in my social circle because I'm always amazed at how many people. So I do a live stream at a piano bar every Friday, Saturday, and I'll always ask, "Hey, anyone here invest in Bitcoin?" And it's crickets, and it's always crickets, and there's never
I
one person in the audience. What's that?
I was gonna say I appreciate you asking. Keep it up, please.
Well, it's out of interest because I'm like, am I the only one in Winnipeg that invests in Bitcoin? And it turns out I just might be. But what happens for sure is that the Schadenfreude kicks up when Bitcoin price dumps, and then everyone's texting me, "How's that Bitcoin doing? It must be pretty horrible to have Bitcoin right now, right?" And then I, of course, say, "No, it's a life changing moment to invest in Bitcoin right now." And they think, of course, I'm just talking sweet lemons, but it really is at this price. Whether it's anything under 30 is just crazy that you wouldn't get into it. But no one is in Winnipeg anyway. I know two people. One owns a chocolate factory, and one is my brother-in-law.
All right. That's would you say sweet lemons? I'm not giving sweet lemons.
Yeah,
What
that's
was
a new
that
one.
nice
I was thinking the
colloquialism?
same thing,
I love
DZ.
that one.
No,
I like that.
it's either
We're gonna have to
sour
bring it to
grapes
the
or sweet
States.
lemons, right? So like I'm trying to make like I'm in a good situation. I'm making
Yeah,
these
yeah. No,
lemons
I
sweet
understand
rather
the
than
sweet.
Oh,
Rather,
make
yeah, I
lemon
understand.
lemonade
I
out of
just haven't
lemon.
heard.
Lemon.
right.
Yeah, I haven't
Making
heard.
lemonades
Yeah.
out of lemon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All
There you
right,
go.
all right. Well, let's talk about Apple and Mana. As much as I like to discuss some lemonade recipes, Apple Reality Pro VR. That is the name. Is expected to be launched later this year. I don't know if that's going to be a reality or not, but it will cost around $3,000. They intend to create a 3D world for its mobile operating system. Some of it's going to have FaceTime-based video conferencing, meeting rooms for existing Apple users, and it's going to go against MetaQuest Quest Pro and Sony's upcoming PlayStation VR2 devices. So there's going to be a little bit of competition. But Apple, due to their quarterly reports, they put out their expected sales of this VR headset. I want you to guys hear this. In their first year, they expect to sell 1 million of these units. Now, Altcoin Daily, did you interact with the Oculus VR at all?
Not that I remember. Maybe in my life, but nothing memorable.
Do you ever see that people are going to feel comfortable wearing these bulky VRs, or is this just always going to be just kind of a fad? Can Apple crack the code that maybe Facebook and Zuckerberg couldn't?
I think much like cell phones in the early 90s, the technology and the ease of use will get better. But this foray into, I think it's great that Apple's going so far into a decentralized metaverse like Decentraland, because as we know, Meta is building their own thing, probably nothing more centralized. It does scare me in the future that all these on ramps to get into the metaverse through VR are controlled by these big conglomerate corporations. It just like I want to fight for decentralization, and I'm not sure how that's going to look in like 10 years from now if every single on ramp that we need to get in is through these major players. So if you control the on ramps, I think you control the metaverse in a sense because you can control which one people get into. So
Yeah.
if they sent me one, would I try it out? Hell yes, I would be excited to do it, but I am concerned about the future.
No, that's actually really insightful. And we've talked about, yeah, it's just the hardware component is going to be such a gatekeeping aspect of it. And the only solution I feel is maybe how Raspberry Pi kind of popularized, maybe 20 years after the release, the cool nerdy kids can, maybe build their own VR, but that is not happening anytime soon. It's certainly not happening 23, 24, 25. Now, Miss Teen Crypto, why do you think that Apple chose Decentraland and Mana as their partner versus, say, Yuga or Sandbox or maybe even build their own?
I think Decentraland, they have a good grasp on the community and they're crypto native people, which really helps a lot. I mean, if you look at this week, Porsche actually released their own NFTs, and I think only 1,600 out of 5,000 plus sold. And it's because you can't buy community. Now, Decentraland, they have their community already. There was already a lot of hype in the last bull market for Mana token already. It was already listed on a lot of exchanges as well. So that's already a good barrier down for entry for people to actually enter their metaverse once Apple actually integrates it. And I think Apple could really help Decentraland. I think when I was originally going in Decentraland, and granted it was very early days, but it was hard for my computer to handle. The graphics weren't top notch and it was a little bit clunky at the beginning. I'm not sure how it is now, haven't been on there in a few months. However, they need someone like Apple that has the capabilities with gaming people behind them that could actually elevate the metaverse in so many different ways and give it more capability, better optics, better user interface. So I think it's a very beneficial thing for both. And now crypto is inevitable, right? Apple's going to have to get in one way or another. They were already trying to be an intermediary with NFT gaming, being that they wanted 30% of NFT sales and 30% of secondary markets, which, if you know blockchain, that can't happen. Apple can't control the blockchain, take royalties from the blockchain. They want to get in, they don't know how. Teaming up with Mana, perfect, because they're in the community. They have a sense and they could balance it out, hopefully in the right way.
30% tax. I felt like I was experiencing that with the $70 gas fees from 2 years ago. It felt like a
Yeah.
tax every single time.
They want 30% of everything.
I want to talk about a little price action here. I want to share the all-time chart for Decentraland. This is the Mana token. Just languished sideways for years and years. Joe Paris was probably talking about it here, though. And then we had the big Facebook announcement, the Meta announcement. I forget the exact number, but roughly $10 billion invested every year for, I think, 10 years, 8 years, something like that. Then it experienced a huge pump off of that news. And then after that, we had the Bitcoin rally. And then just continuing off that good news and the Bitcoin rally, hit a price of right under $5 and now right at 70 cents. Now, Crypto Blood, we had a great resurgence on all the metaverse projects when Facebook announced their big metaverse plans, their big metaverse push. Can Apple create a similar bull run for metaverse projects? Are there some things we should be looking at now? You're muted. You're muted. Still.
Oh, there we go.
There you
There
go,
we
there
go.
you go.
This is big news for Apple for sure. Well, I should say big news for the metaverse industry in general. But I will say this: in the 10 years I've been in crypto, I have not seen a bull run in the same sector happen twice. So I do not think the next bull run will be metaverse. It will be AI based blockchains. Just the nonsense. We're in the degen industry, guys. We all know that, right? So you just got to take advantage of it. People are going to be very emotional about this and irrational. And I think the next bull run will be AI based tokens because that is the new wave. But definitely it's good news for the metaverse. Damn sure good news for Decentraland. And it'll definitely pump up the price of that Mana token in the near future here.
Yeah, I
Gonna be a
definitely
bid
think
on
so.
that.
Now, Piano Matty B, I mean, do you agree with that? That, might not get that second bull run with these metaverse projects? And, is there anything that, is there any metaverse project that might be somewhat worthwhile? Or are they all just kind of irrationally being pumped and, no one's really trading off logistics and technicals, just trading off emotions?
Well, I think Blood made a great point. AI is on the rise and will probably take over the next bull run. But when I think of Apple and Decentraland, I can't help but picture the sacrificial lamb theory coming, where I picture Apple phoning Decentraland saying, "Hey, Decentraland, it's Apple. Yes, the Apple. We should partner together. We got this cool little VR. You got this decentralized meta something. Let's work together, put it all, develop it, build it, and then we'll see what happens moving forward after that. Some restrictions may apply." Then, of course, they financially, morally bankrupt them, and then the infrastructure becomes within Apple. Because I don't know much about the Apple environment, but there's not much that can get in. Do you remember having to jailbreak your Apple
Yeah.
3 or 4, and that was a big
Well,
deal?
I
We've kind of
remember
forgot about that.
jailbreaking Androids regularly to play Game Boy, Pokemon Red and Blue, and then Apple just no longer can you do that.
Yeah. So are they going to allow one massive industry outside of their moat, so to speak? I don't think so.
No, that's actually a really good point. I think there's something to that, just kind of double down. Yeah, I can't see Apple just allowing someone to come in and just run amok, run things how they want to run things. I can't imagine an Apple metaverse not directly under the Apple thumb. So I think that's a really good point there. All right, now Crypto Blood, you got your you
No,
just
no,
you
no,
just
no, no.
testifying.
It's
You just
Miss Ting. She had her hand up, just copying her.
Miss Teen, go ahead. Muted. See, that's why I didn't call on you.
Now you're muted.
Yes.
I'm not muted anymore. Sorry.
Uh.
Blood gave me his mute. I was gonna say as a joke
Right.
because remember when Apple initially was going to, there were rumors that they were going to ban Twitter off of the App Store, and Elon said, "Oh, I'll make my own Apple. I'll make my own iPhone." What if, right? Because people like Atari, there's big names that are into gaming, that are into crypto. What if they just make their own VR? What if they make their own PlayStation? Why don't we make our own version of it so that way these people will have to lower their barriers and can't totally take over? I definitely picture something like that happening.
All right. Yeah,
We
it's going to be
create our
interesting to
own, we
see.
build our own.
I am, I bought my first Apple phone after using Pixel. I think I've been using Pixel phones for 5 years. I have that 14 Pro Max. Not a fan, but I probably will buy this just because it's crypto. But that's just me. Now I'll make Hit Network buy it. All right, that is all we have time for today. And looks like Piano Matty B, he ended up killing the competition in the Kill Bill Yellow. You know what? It was maybe the cat. I think the cat was inspiring
It's always
this whole
the cat,
time.
yeah.
So Piano Matty B, I appreciate you still asking, is anyone in Winnipeg buying Bitcoin? But we are a little more receptive. So is there any parting words of wisdom you want to share here?
Well, I thought I'd leave you with the song that I used to sing. I still sing on my channel, but it's been about a year since I was officially on the BitBoy channel. So I'll sing it out.
Love it.
We're playing the same game as our psychopathic elected elites. That's right, it's the long game. So zoom out and have a fantastic day. Altcoin Daily was filmed before a live studio audience.
And that song was for you, Davos, man. Make sure you check out everybody's channel here. The link is in the description. They're all putting out fantastic content. Make sure you check out Crypto Bloods Trades. Miss Teen Crypto doing a great job onboarding. Altcoin Daily, the best Twitter around, and Piano Matty B, as far as I'm concerned, the best songwriter in the entire Web3 space. No one even compares. Move over, Paul McCartney. This is the best songwriter for the 20th century. That is all we got today, Bit Squad. Till next time. Easy out.